Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Lenard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hey gang, just a brief intro into Music Weeks. Here they are now. I was also considering going down the list of all the people that you see over the Music Weeks to be part of each episode, let you know who's coming or who may have been or whatnot. The list has grown. Too big to really go into here. I don't want to take that much time. Music Weeks, thankfully, has grown into a pretty big deal. So it's grown a lot more than just the one Music Week it originally was going to start out as, into multiple weeks now. Let's go ahead and get into this particular day's Music Weeks episodes, and I'm trying to drop them Monday through Friday each week of Music Weeks. So, welcome to the show, another episode of Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, but this is another Music Weeks episode. For those on audio only or the benefit of the transcript, I'm digging up old concert shirts for Music Weeks. Trying to. I seem to have got rid of most of them, but I have a damn Yankees concert shirt on today. My guest today is Franklin Sane, who is a Bowie guy. I never saw Bowie in concert, but I loved him in Labyrinth. Welcome to the show, Franklin.
Yeah, well, it's great to be here. You got the damn Yankees. I know about you Yankees.
Hey,
damn those Yankees. I said, damn them. Damn them.
I guess that was an accidental good circumstance that I happened to pick this one for today and set up the joke.
Well, I did have an album called Young Americans. Maybe it could have been Young Damn Yankees.
At any rate, welcome to the show. You're also a fellow Michiganian, not a Michigander. We are not geese. We are Michiganians. So I'm happy to have you on. And as behind the scenes people could see, you got your Bowie / Ziggy Stardust kind of thingy going on there for the video, and you created Bowies Alive. And as I joked with you the other day when I first started talking to you, I forgot he was dead.
Well, he's alive. He's alive. His spirit is alive.
That's for sure. Through you now, That's for sure.
And I like to tell people that that I am a real live pretend to be Bowie.
So now to kind of back things up, we put the cart before the horse. Now, like I said, you are a fellow Michiganian. Bowie died in 2016. For those of you like me that knew at one time, I'm sure, but forgot. But you and I have hockey in common, which kind of is what led you to where you are today. So let's give the audience that background. How did hockey lead to being you turning into David Bowie?
Yeah, well, this is fun. I always loved music. You know, I remember walking home from school and grade school and listening to songs and thinking to myself, you know, I could write songs. I could be a musician, to be a singer, whatever, but never did anything with it. I was a hockey player, as you say. I wanted to play in the NHL, and I got as far as the USHL, which is the United States Hockey League. It was a different league back then. It was a kind of a lower level minor league. I played for the Marquette Iron Rangers, which was also the place where the Carlson brothers, who were in that Slapshot movie, played. But I hurt my back. It was in the early, oh gosh, it was 20 plus years ago, and I couldn't play hockey. I couldn't do much of anything, and I always wanted to get into music. And lo and behold, I got myself a keyboard. You know, the synth bands were going on, and I started writing songs. And the next thing I knew, my first band was called Civilize the Wild. I was a very Bowie inspired original artist, and I've done a lot of original music. I've got, things that have charted on radio stations around the world, and just as singing as Franklin Sane in different acts that I've worked with, and just having a great time. But yeah, it was really, when I hurt my back and I couldn't. Now I'm back playing hockey again, actually. But
Yeah.
I'm having just as much fun or more fun pretending to be a rock star.
Yeah, a rock god. Yeah, like I also, for part of Music Weeks, have the music god is going to come on. It's like, and this is a Christian show, so I'm like, people, calm down. It's like a lot of bands, they call themselves rock gods. It's not blasphemous. Can we calm down? Right. But yeah, I played hockey through high school also. Unfortunately, you got further than I did. At least I didn't get past high school. But yeah, I wrote and recorded music before too, but that's why I'm an author now. I don't. My biggest claim to fame as far as the radio goes was I wrote a radio play for CJOM 89X. I'm sure you remember them.
Yeah, sure.
Out of Windsor. They had a contest where we're going to give you a song of the week and you write a radio play that goes with it. And the first song of the week was Billy Idol, Eyes Without a Face. So you could go to terrorstrikes.info/Billy Idol and see my radio play that I wrote that won. So that's my big radio claim to fame.
89X. You know what? They used to have, do you remember their Homeboy show?
Yep.
Kelly Brown, right?
I don't remember the name.
She was the DJ, Homeboy show. She came and saw the Franklin Sane band. We were
cool.
Playing, I think we were playing the Ritz. Some of you, we got some musicians listening from the Detroit area. You guys remember the Ritz? It was a great club, big club. We were playing there one night, and she saw us, and she really liked the band. We were doing all songs that I wrote with the band. We had some great. Well, listen to me. Of course, we had some great songs. Of course, they were fabulous. I know you love words. They were fantabulous.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah, we were joking on the phone the other day. You're not an entertainer. You like to be an infotainer. And I love that word. I like inventing words. Hey, the show is my invented word. So
yeah, it's infotainment at its finest, because when I'm not pretending to be a rock star, which believe me, you know what? I was pretty good at make believe when I was little. And I really, I just never lost that talent in my mind. So, but when I'm not,
I've heard that about you. A lot of people say you never grew up. Yeah. For the benefit of the transcript, we're laughing. These are jokes.
Well, and I always tell people, the only time you'll hear me say I'm too old for that is when I say, you'll never hear me say I'm too old for that. But when I'm not pretending to be a rock star, pretending to be David Bowie, and let's face it, David Bowie, the one thing, I was talking to some musicians the other day about this. I said, the thing I love about pretending to be David Bowie is that you can never go too far over the top. He was the ultimate when it came to, showmanship and craziness.
Yeah.
The whole thing. I mean, look at all his characters. Ziggy Stardust, Aladdin Sane, the Thin White Duke, Major Tom, all these fabulous characters in the songs. You know, the songs, here's something people probably don't know about David Bowie. When Rolling Stone, you can look this up, they did the 500 greatest songs of all time. They took songs by the Beatles, the Stones, Aretha Franklin, just Bob Dylan, everybody. Do you know that, of course, we're not surprised that the most entries were by the Beatles. But do you know that the second highest songwriter in that list was David Bowie?
Interesting.
Yeah, David Bowie. And plus, when they listed the top 100 rock stars or stars of all time, there he was. He was in the top, I believe, in the top 30 or top 30, top 40. So, like I say, and the whole, his marriage of theater and music was what really did it for me.
Yeah.
And when we do a show, that's what it's a multimedia event. We have film, we have slides, we have the live band, we have, and I'm going after it all out to be David Bowie. I mean, I loved the way that he performed, and that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, when I think musical theatrics, yeah, David Bowie obviously comes to mind, but also Vincent, aka everybody knows as Alice Cooper. That's just a persona, like Ziggy Stardust. Like I was joking with you the other day, for a while, I'm sure people thought his name was Ziggy, right? Vincent is Alice Cooper is his persona. It's the band. That's not his real name. But yeah, when I think theatrics, I think Bowie and Alice Cooper, their shows live with all the theatrics.
And Alice is somebody who I never saw live. Did you ever see him?
No, he is one of the people on my list of, I never got around to seeing them live, and I'm so upset because of that. He's one of the few, because there was a period of time when I was working, when I was able to work. I'm on disability now and on disability income. I can't afford to go to the shows. Plus, with my health, I don't want to be in those crowds. But yeah, he's on my list of those that just kind of missed during that time frame that I was going to all kinds of concerts, including damn Yankees. And I so regret it because of that theatrics. Coming out with the snake and everything, the fake beheading at the end.
Guillotine, right, the guillotine.
Yeah. I think that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now, or there were probably more than one. I think one of them is there, but I think they still use them on tour. But at any rate, we're not here to talk about Alice Cooper. We're here to talk about your lame impression of David Bowie. We're laughing. We're laughing. Again, for the transcript, we're laughing. I'm just teasing. These are jokes.
So, and if people want to see some of what I'm doing, of course, my YouTube channel is Franklin Sane. They can go to Franklin Sane. They can see a highlight reel. We've got a highlight reel of the Bowies Alive performances, and we've got I got some video. I did I recut. I have a version of Heroes that I did with a producer from Australia. He wanted to do a song in honor. This was shortly after Ukraine had been invaded by the Russians, and
for the umpteenth millionth time, for those who don't, it kills me. No one knows our own U.S. history, let alone world history. The Russians and the Soviets have been occupying on and off Ukraine for more than 120 years. So, yeah, the umpteenth millionth time they've invaded Ukraine. But anyway.
So he wanted to do a version of Heroes, and he wanted somebody to sing it in Ukrainian. And I said, look, because I heard the track. There's a website called Compose, and if people want to look me up on Compose, KOMPOZ.com, it's a collaboration site. I've done a number of songs with people from all over the world. I have a great time with some people. In fact, I have a separate project that, well, a number of projects coming out of that. But he wanted to do this song, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to sing it in Ukrainian, even though I could get my wife to translate it because she's from there. But
Interesting.
Yeah. So I told him, but
you could get her to kind of teach you phonetically how to do the Ukrainian words, but you said no, you didn't want to.
Yeah, so what I did, I wrote some of the lyrics and I called it Heroes, and then in parentheses, the Martyrs of Mariupol, which is a city that,
Yeah.
Was tragically
basically wiped off the face of the map. Yep.
Yeah, and I took footage from the war, and I took images from the city, and we tried to honor the valiant effort that they did, and I kept some of the original lyrics. He has the song, he has the line, and the guns shot above our heads, and we kissed as though nothing would fall. I mean, those are that's part of the original song Heroes, which, by the way, on that list I told you about, the top 500 songs of Rolling Stone, Heroes is in the top 25.
Wow.
The top 25 of all time songs. And they had all these experts, and of course, like I say, they recognized the genius that was David Bowie. I mean,
yeah.
Genius.
I mean, you don't have I like Bowie as a person, and I like some of his music, though. I had a 12-inch single of China Girl.
Oh, wow.
But I don't have any official regular Bowie albums, right? I never thought enough to buy an album like the Ziggy Stardust album. But for a while, when disco was raging, he came out with the 12-inch version of China Girl. I bought that on a 12-inch single.
Well, China Girl, let's face it, to me, it barely gets much better for Bowie than China Girl. I love that song, and when I do these songs, singing them live, I gotta tell you something. I feel like he wrote these songs so that I could sing them. That's the way I feel about his material. And when I first became a singer, I mean, that's what I was going for. His and people who have heard my original songs. I've seen it. When they on some of these shows where it's online and people are chatting, and my song will come up, and people will say, "Oh my gosh, this guy's got a Bowie thing going on." Well, that he was my inspiration. He was what got me, when I saw Bowie and heard Bowie, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Right.
That's what I want to do.
You weren't copying, you weren't trying to be a purposeful imitation, but the fact that that's true of a lot of bands. I mean, their influences come through in them. They can't help it because that's ingrained in who they are.
Joseph, you just nailed it, because that is so true. It's our influence. And I like to tell people, I pretty much have done all the things that Bowie did without the fame and the fortune, because and who needs that, right? Who cares?
Right, yeah. Franklin Sane, also known as AKA the broke Bowie.
Yeah, because the thing is, so let me kind of walk you through this for a minute. So Bowie, he studied mime. I learned about that. To me, it very much influenced the way that he gestured on stage. And so I studied mime. Okay. He didn't limit himself to rock and roll. I mean, I am an alternative rocker at heart, but he did R&B, he did soul, the Plastic Soul album, Young Americans. He did a lot of synth pop / synth rock. He did, some songs that you would consider pop. I've done all of those things. I've got, if people really want to, get into, what I'm doing, and you can reach me, like I say, my YouTube channel, Franklin Sane. And there's, of course, you can message me through the channel. I have my stuff up there. And of course, the other way people can reach me is our email is Bowies Alive Band. So it's just BOWIESALIVEBAND, Bowies Alive Band at gmail.com. And, if people want to, hear some of this stuff, because I've got songs of all kinds of different persuasions, I guess I'll say, for lack of a better term. I haven't done everything that Bowie's done. And like I say,
you're still alive. There's that, right?
I am still alive. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, since it is a political show, I'm going to go there. Unlike Joe Biden, which is a walking corpse, but that's a whole other show. And my audience knows I can never pass on the lame puns. You mentioned mime, so I'm going. What's yours is mime, and what's mime is yours. But
There you go. There you go. Yeah. No. So for me, just doing, I just looked at all the creativity that came out of this artist, and I just appreciated all of it. I mean, it's fabulous. In my first band, we were an original rock band. We did a couple of covers. We did a Roxy Music song. We did Both Ends Burning. We did.
I really liked the Roxy Music. Yeah.
Yep. So we also did Where Have All the Good Times Gone, which is a song that Bowie did on an album he did of covers called Pinups. So, and if you don't have any Bowie albums, of course you can listen to them all on Spotify or
now. Yeah.
And actually, people can hear, if they want to hear my original influences, they can go to Spotify or Apple Music, any major streaming platform, and listen for a song called The Days of the Blind and Roses. The Days of the Blind and Roses. That's
instead of Days of Wine and Roses. Yeah, there's wordplay and fun there.
Yeah. So there's a group that I did some songs for. I wrote the lyrics and sang for a couple of songs for a group called the Collaborators, spelled with a K. Collaborators. And then I've got this new project that I'm doing with somebody who was the founder of the Collaborators. He's a guitarist, producer, fabulous artist out of Montreal, Louis Denome. And we started this new project. We're calling it The Modern Clouds. Okay. Not the old clouds, not the modern clouds. All right. We are the modern clouds. And we actually released one song last year, and we have a whole EP coming out. We released a Christmas song last year. It's called The Christmas Vibe. Okay. And that you can go again. Of course, we're not in the Christmas season at the moment, but hey, for me, every day is Christmas, right?
Hey, it's a Christian show, so hey, Christmas fits right in every day of the year, right?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Love to the Lord, absolutely. And,
now, do you mainly do your YouTube site, or do you have a website?
So, I this is what I started to get to a minute ago, and so how did we get sidetracked? I don't know. It might have been your T-shirt. I don't know what it is. But in any event, we had wait, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Yeah.
What else do I? Yeah, website. So when I'm not, you talked about my work as a infotainer, okay? Yeah. And what I was going to share with our listeners is that we have I when I'm not singing and performing or writing songs or recording songs, I served as a juvenile court judge for years in the city of Detroit, and I have and I do I do keynote speaking work where I bring the energy and the entertainment of David Bowie and I add it to something I'm working on, promoting what I'd like to call the revolution in consciousness. And you can get all the information at a website, and then there's a link where you can get to sidelight to my music stuff. But that website is judgefrank.com. It's just judgefrank.com. And I am working to promote practices like mindfulness, meditation, yoga, different things that help us kind of, develop ourselves from the inside out. And
Yeah.
I'm not promoting any particular religion by doing this. I'm really just asking people to spend some time training their minds, because my philosophy is when you train your mind, if we could get everybody on board with this, we wouldn't have the addiction problems that we have in this country. We wouldn't have the violence, the gun violence. Do you know, every day in Chicago alone, 11 people will get shot today. That's what happens. And we accept this. It's crazy. It's insane. We have more people.
I talked with Jeff Peterson, or not Peterson, Patterson, Jeff Patterson, about meditation. And again, all through that show, I kept saying, look, don't think of this as a Buddhism thing. Just trying to disrespect it or disassociate because it's not your faith is really rather silly and stupid. There is a lot to the health benefits and the importance of meditation, and we discussed that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
And God bless you for that, because it's a shame. There's literally hundreds of research papers that show all the physical benefits, the mental benefits of practices, like meditation, yoga. I came across some information that a regular yoga practice is more effective at dealing with anxiety than any of the medications, the pills that we give people to deal with it. So my thinking is, why don't we just close all these clinics and make them yoga studios? Right?
Because the pill is usually just a symptom handler. It doesn't deal with the core problem. It's not a cure. Unlike, you go to chemo to kill cancer cells. It can, like, I didn't choose my hairdo, for those looking behind the scenes, bald head. The hair came out due to leukemia and chemo. So, that cured the cancer. But most pills, and I've got a bottle of Xanax sitting over there. I am pointing to it. I only take it rarely when I need it, but it deals with the symptoms, not the root cause. And the yoga helps you develop a better mindset rather than dealing with the pill, which is just a temporary fix.
And I'll tell you what, Joseph, I'm so appreciative that you have this understanding of it, because a lot of people don't. And, I got to tell you something. I started a yoga practice, oh gosh, I've been doing yoga for 20, 30, for ages. And
You're giving away your age now. Yeah.
And I didn't know this. Yeah. I'm almost 40. But we are having a good laugh, aren't we? So I tell you what, I have, when I had been practicing yoga for years, and somebody pointed out to me that yoga, here in the West, we think it's all for your body, stretching and being flexible and everything. And
which it is too. That's helpful.
Yeah. True, but it was really developed for our mind. It was developed for our mind. And we have an epidemic in this country of drug addiction and violence and these and untreated mental illness and all of these things can be improved if we, I tell people the reason we have all these problems is because people cannot control their emotions. And when you cannot control your emotions, you do bad things, right? You get angry.
Yeah.
You do things.
That's the animal side of us. Yeah.
And then there's so many guns everywhere. What I saw in the juvenile court is people come in, they're there, and they just shoot people. I had a case where a kid shot somebody because he didn't pay him $30 for a bag of weed. What the hell?
Yeah.
So we need to get everybody to understand you got to train your mind.
Yeah.
Train your mind, then you won't have uncontrolled emotions.
Yeah.
I had something happened the other day, and somebody expected me to get super upset, and they looked at me and they said, well, you don't get that didn't seem to bother you. Is that because they said that must be because you meditate? And I said, well, you know what? And I'm not the only one that can do that. Anybody can do it, and if people want to learn about that or have me come in and speak to a group or whatever, I'm more than happy to do that, because I am on a mission to create this revolution in consciousness. And when more people start thinking like you and I are thinking and what we're talking about today, and start training our minds on a daily basis, I tell people, hey, what do? We brush our teeth every day. Can't we do something for
it's
our
a learned behavior that makes things better, or whether not prevents decay. And it's the same thing with our minds. Yeah, I mentioned Jeff Patterson about the meditation. I also had on Leslie Hall, and at the buzzsprout transcript, the extended show notes, I'll put in the related links. I also had on Leslie Hall, also, right? The animal side of us. So I need to introduce you to him, because you two, all three of us, are kind of on that same page.
Great. Yeah, no, that is great. I mean, I came here to talk about the music, or that's why you initially invited me, I think. But the fact is, this information, and if we get people to act on it, it's one thing for people to say, oh, yeah, you talked about meditation a little bit. That sounds nice. You got to act on it. And when you act on it, beautiful. I mean, I have so much creativity buzzing out of my head these days as a result of the fact that I meditate every day. It's the first thing I do. I wake up and bam, I'm in that. I've got my little meditation chair. I'm totally comfortable. I don't sit cross-legged and Swami-fied or whatever.
You don't do the Om thing,
right? No,
right.
yeah. And there's guided meditation. There's mantra meditation. There's a fabulous film clip. You know what? We'll have to work out so that I can get this 10-minute film clip to you. You can put it in the post notes or whatever for this interview, and people can watch this fabulous BBC 10-minute clip that I use when I do my presentations, because it does a great job of talking about mantra meditation. And people think, oh wait, he's asking us to say something in Sanskrit or become Buddhist. Or no, you know what, you can say your mantra can be Jesus. It can be Jesus Christ. And you just when you're repeating this in your head over and over silently, you don't have to say it out loud. You can do it silently. I'll do this, I'll do this on a plane, or whatever.
Oh, hey, you're trapped in a cylinder. That's a great time to do it, right? Try to block out everything else. The crying kid in the back and the person kicking your seat, right? Good time to meditation. But yeah, there are different disciplines of meditation as well as yoga. And I did warn you when we talked on the phone, I don't script shows. We go down whatever rabbit holes open. This is another classic example of one of those shows. You're here to talk about Bowie. We get into meditation and yoga.
There you go. There you go. No, it's really, and like I say, I call it a revolution in consciousness, because when we get everybody on this page and we get people to, stop with the, the uncontrolled emotions and the angry behavior and the depression and everything else. I mean, it's, you just get some beautiful results. And I actually wrote a song called On the Road, and it's my attempt to
it's not a Willie Nelson cover, On the Road Again? No.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. No, that's right. It's my attempt to explain in a song what the meditation experience is like. Okay. And for example, there's a line in the song where I sing, in a burst of silence, it all comes clear. So there you go.
I like that.
There you go.
I like that.
We haven't had much silence on this show today.
No. No, well, yeah. Radio, TV, podcast. You don't want dead air.
Yeah. And if people want to see your Italian hand gestures and my Italian/Polish ones, whatever.
Yeah.
My British ones. What about my British ones? Then they can tune in, because you're going to have some place that they can watch this.
Yeah.
Right?
I do behind the scenes sneak peek videos before on 5 video platforms: BitChute, Brighteon, YouTube, Daily Motion out of France, and Rumble. And before, I usually sneak the video before it airs on the 20 plus audio platforms. And of course, when it does drop, I'll let you know that it's all out there to share it.
You mean we're going to be in France? We're going to be in France. Oh my God.
Yeah. What do you have to say to the en français crowd? Yeah.
Je m'appelle Franklin Sane. C'est la vie. I did have a few years in the secondary school. They taught me some French. I remember about 18 words.
Yeah. We joked, you're both part Polish and Italian. I'm part Polish and Italian. I'm also part German. And I took German for a while, but I didn't really have anybody to speak with it. If you don't have somebody you can converse, you don't really retain it. So yeah, I may know a half dozen German words, a half dozen Polish words, a half dozen Italian words, but pretty worthless.
Yeah, no, listen, I've got a great Italian sister-in-law. My only claim to being Italian is perhaps what happens with my hands when I'm talking to people.
So yeah, I do know, right? You're part Polish. So what else are you?
Polish and some Ukrainian blood. It looks like it. We did one of those genealogy things, and that showed up in our family. My ancestors lived close to my grandparents on both sides came over from Europe, but they lived very close to the border of Ukraine. So a lot of cross-breeding type stuff going on.
So the Slavic region in general, anyway, right?
Yeah. And let's face it, I've always thought the thing I love about Slavic heritage is it's just, to me, it's always been something there's kind of a deep way of looking at the world and a thought, whatever. I mean, it just, that's what I take from it or of it or whatever.
Okay. Well,
although I don't know how deep I am, people might say. But they might say I'm actually pretty shallow because I'm pretending to be a rock star. And what the hell is that all about?
All right, plug the kids' ears, because here comes the joke. I've heard you're pretty deep when it comes to being full of shit. So.
Well, there you go. We might have to bleep that one out.
And at any rate, like with most of my guests, we could go on for hours, but then if you have a 6-hour show, it's too long, nobody's going to tune in. So wrapping things up, we already have the websites. And again, if you go to Buzzsprout, where my show is housed, although it's carried on more than 20 audio platforms. If you're looking behind the scenes, Amazon Music, iHeart, Spotify, Audio Mech. So all the big places and a whole lot of bunch of small places too. Deezer, which some people think, and not Weezer. Deezer is a audio platform, not on SoundCloud though, for some reason. I don't know why, but at any rate. So to recap, on Buzzsprout, the transcript, there's extended show notes in the transcript, which related links will be there. I'll link to the Patterson meditation episode, the Leslie Hall animal episode, and of course, your links, Revolution. No, you don't have a site for that. JudgeFrank.com, as well as thecompose.com, and I'll have your email in there since you've given it out over the air. Get ready for a bunch of spam now.
All right. Yeah, well, listen, love having this a chance to exchange. Love the fact that we actually went a little deeper than the surface level, pretending to be Bowie. That was really a lot of fun. Hey, great, and I'll probably want to post some clips, and this was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. And let me get one or two last things in here if I can. So if people want to hear,
nope, gotta cut you off.
Okay.
Yeah, go on. No, I'm kidding. Please.
Okay. So listen, I did an album of cover songs from the 60s where I did them as if they were coming out again in the 80s, like dance remixes. And I did songs.
You kind of updated them, yeah.
I did. You can go on YouTube. You can see Franklin Sane doing Steppin' Stone. I'm Not Your Steppin' Stone, the Monkees song. I did Hazy Shade of Winter. I did.
The Bengals kind of made that. And a lot of people don't know that's a
Shocking Blue.
Yeah, who's Simon and Garfunkel tune.
Oh, which Hazy Shade of Winter?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Well, and the other song I mentioned, Venus, Bananarama did that, but it was originally Shocking Blue.
Yep.
Yeah. So
there's a whole lot of songs people don't realize that they grew up with. They thought were originals, like the Bangles, Hazy Shade of Winter. People thought they wrote that. No, a whole lot of different artists do cover songs, but they are almost so different than the original that they have that original feel.
Yeah, so what I did, I pulled the drums out. I put dance 80s drum loops in. I changed some of the guitars are now synthesizers. And what I did, I have a version of Don't Fear the Reaper. You know that fabulous guitar riff?
Blue Oyster Cult. I love that song.
Cult.
Yeah.
Love those guys. Instead of hearing Buck Dharma's guitar, you hear a synthesizer playing that da 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 da.
Yeah.
And it's just a different vibe. I just love that kind of stuff. I mixed it at a place on the east side called The Disc, where a lot of really great people have done music there. I mixed it with an engineer over there and just had a great time. So that album is called Remixamusa. It's Franklin Sane. And I've had a supendacular time visiting with you. Thank you for letting me get one last plug in. I can't stop. If a friend of mine had a band called Trains Can't Stop, and I loved that name. And that was my friend.
Yeah, your and my brain works. I like to say my OCD, ADHD brain. That's why I don't script. Things just pop in my head as we go, and we go there. Indeed, so
you got great energy as somebody doing a show like this, Joseph. My hats are off to you.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a bunch of older songs, like 60 songs. It's like, so I look forward to a Bowie cover of Inagata-Davida.
Oh my God! You know what? In fact, that's one of the things I want to do with my website. Is I want to set something up like a kind of a Patreon thing where people can say, hey, I want to hear you do this, or I want to hear you do that. And you know what? You have just given me an entree. You've started the whole thing. Joseph.
Hey, I'm your first, and you never forget your first, right?
No. And then I got a DeVita. Oh man, that's a fun idea. That's a very fun idea.
All right.
I'm gonna have to work on that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Franklin Sane of Bowies Alive. Appreciate your time today. Take care, everybody. God bless.
Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.